Welcome back, America. The Iranian regime is bringing in, SS, along with its own SS, from Hezbollah, militia in Iraq. They're bringing in others. They're using their military now, not just the brown shirt police types and so forth. They're chasing people down in alleyways. They're shooting them in the back of the head. They're dragging people out of hospitals, killing them, killing the doctors and the nurses who help them and so forth and so on. What would literally happen if this counter-revolution to this Islamist revolution fails? What would happen to the people in Iran, as well as to us and the rest of the region over there?
Well, we've seen what happens in the past when these uprisings fail, when Barack Obama turns his back and says he'd rather wait for a deal with the mullahs, when Joe Biden doesn't do everything the United States can do in 2022 because he wants to go back to Obama's nuclear deal. There is precedent for this in this country. Now, we've never had this level of uprising before. It's historic, and we've never seen this level of maximum violence from the regime against the people. That's also historic. But we know that there will be brutal crackdowns that continue. They will go door to door, rip people out of their homes during the night, have mass executions. They have kangaroo courts. Remember, under their own Islamic law, at the beginning of the uprising, they declared anybody in the streets to already be an apostate, some sort of betrayer of Islam, that they can just go sentenced to death. And so for now, at least, they're holding off because they fear President Trump. But there will come a day in the future where they have those mass arrests. They've arrested tens of thousands of people. We don't have an accurate estimate yet. They will continue to arrest more. They will kill everybody that they think in any way threatens them, whether they do or not. They will continue the brutal repression of religious minorities, ethnic minorities, as we've seen since the founding in 1979. This is the regime we have, and what it does to its people is a microcosm, is a warning to us of what it wants to do outside its borders, what it does to export that Islamic revolution through the Revolutionary Guard Corps, starting wars in the Middle East that keep us bogged down instead of pivoting to China, plotting assassination attempts against President Trump and other members of his administration. This is what you deal with on a daily basis, and it will continue to get worse and be a thorn in our side, pleasing Beijing, pleasing Moscow for years to come, if the people are crushed.
Even before this uprising, after the Israelis beat them in a 12-day war and President Trump took out their nuclear sites, what was it like living there? What was their economy like? What was their currency like? What was were they able to subsist? What was it like?
Well, what has happened is we've had an ebb and flow in the economy depending on who is president. Obviously, Barack Obama decided to go into the horrible nuclear deal and open up just hundreds of billions of dollars of spigots and sanctions relief for Iran, allow their oil industry to start booming again, skyrocketing back up into the northwards of 2 million barrels per day in exports. Donald Trump came in his first term and said, this is crazy. What are we funding our enemies like this? Got out of the nuclear deal and put maximum pressure on Iran and started driving their exports of oil towards zero. That prompted the first one of these kinds of uprising in years in 2019. And similarly, the regime was caught off guard. They were afraid. They responded with max violence, but it was much smaller than what we're seeing today. 2022 comes around, you have Joe Biden as president. He's undoing everything that Donald Trump has done, offering sanctions relief to the regime once again. So they're able to get by. Even if the people are suffering, the regime is enjoying happiness with what they're selling in oil exports that Biden allows. Come Donald Trump back into office, and he reasserts maximum pressure. He's putting the pressure back on the banking sector. And let me tell you something, when he decides to take out the nuclear program, that takes a major extortion leverage away from the regime. When he completes the UN snapback of sanctions last fall, once again, the bottom starts dropping out. If he takes out the missile program, finally, of this regime, they have nothing to extort or threaten or deter us from stopping all of the rest of their oil exports. He has so many levers at his disposal in President Trump, and he just needs to ask for those options and start executing them sequentially to help the people bring down this regime. This is the moment it can happen. He is the transformational president that can make it happen.
Yeah, and he's going to. That's my belief, and he's going to. Rich Goldberg, thanks for everything you do. You're a very, very important public voice. God bless you, my friend.
God bless you, Mark.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.